Welcome back, everybody. Today is not your typical Big Easy Blitz episode. And Brock, why is that?
Well, as everybody can see, we have the ever so famous for LSU fans, Will Helmers, both internet star and former baseball player, which we'll get into later. Shout out to Jacob Kiff. We were talking about this earlier. Getting Will. We thought it was a chance since we both graduated from high school, the same high school.
Yep.
And we're very happy to have you here. Will, would you like to say anything before we
Yeah,
kick it
man.
off?
I'm really happy you guys got the word out and could have me on. I'm happy to be here. The Blue Jay spirit runs way back,
Oh yeah.
and I wouldn't miss something like this for you guys. Trying to grow a brand and excel yourselves into what this sports media world is becoming, and you're doing it at the right time. You're doing it at right when you're getting into out of high school, into different stuff in your life. It's the time to do it, grow it, and I'm happy to be a part of it and help you guys.
M-
Absolutely. So thank y'all
Yes,
for
sir.
having me.
Yes,
Means a
sir.
lot.
Thank you. So kind of what we've in our past interviews, what this is going to be like. So we're going to start with like, I'd say we have eight kind of like baseball questions, and then
Yeah,
we're just going to ask a bunch of fun rapid fire questions.
Hmm.
cool,
Just
man.
kind of,
I'm excited. Let's
yes.
rip it.
So I'll start off the first one. So obviously you were a senior in the COVID year. How did that affect kind of you going to LSU, skipping on the draft potentially?
Yeah,
It worked out really well because y'all had a phenomenal core that year.
yeah, man. That was a fun year. It would have been a fun year at Jesuit. So you know, we I got my offer from LSU my the summer going into my senior year. So that junior year we had a decent season at Jesuit, and then kind of went into the summer, and that was the first year that Coach Gillett kind of like really stepped into the like travel baseball kind of world, and we played one. It was the first time Jesuit ever did this. We played a tournament at Alex Box. It wasn't even like a tournament. It was like a
Really?
little round robin. We
Hmm.
played this kind of random team, and it had been set up so that LSU could see me throw, basically. And so it was a Saturday, and whatever. I went out there and shoved it. This team from whoever, it might have been from like Illinois or Indiana or something. Shoved it, and then at that time, um, I was a junior, so LSU could like contact me, but they couldn't talk to me because it was like some kind of recruiting period. And
Mhm.
so LSU, the pitching coach saw me throw, sitting right behind home plate, and I guess they liked what they saw or whatever. And so they wanted to do a tour with the team in the locker room and coaches' offices after the game. And the only reason was because they wanted to talk to me. They wanted to
Oh,
take me aside, and so the rule it was kind of like they couldn't talk directly to me. So you got Coach Goodlet right here, Alan Dunn and Paul Maneri right here, and me right here, and they're both talking to me. They're talking to me, but they're looking at Coach Goodlet because they can't directly talk to me.
oh,
And so that's how I was recruited. Like, hey, Will, we'd like to offer you, but they're talking to Kenny.
wow. That's
So it's pretty
awesome.
cool. It's pretty cool. So that's how I got the offer, and once I got the offer from LSU, that's where I was going. I wasn't really worried about the draft, and I could have probably gotten drafted out of high school, um, which would have been cool. It would have
Mhm.
been cool, but LSU is the spot to be. So that COVID year, we played 15 games, or 13 games. That was it. And we had such a good team, man. We had two really good starters with me and Brian Balagoski, and also, we had the core guys that were hitting. Me, Parker Serio, Brian, Balagoski, Carbo kind of stepped in there and started hitting. And the list goes on and on and on. We have Holden Hess, who's starting to come up and pitch, and it was a good group, and you know, you ask pretty much anybody, even from different schools, that we were going to win that year.
Oh
We
yeah.
had it.
Mm.
I've
We
heard
had
that a
it kind
lot.
of locked in
Uh-huh.
because we had the formula, which you need two starters in how the playoffs used to work. You needed two starters, and you could win.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
we kind of got snubbed, which sucked. And I missed. Obviously you missed the baseball part of it, but you also missed like your senior year. Like I
Well,
didn't
yeah.
have a senior year. Like we didn't have senior prom or anything. We barely got to graduate, which was,
Man.
like they did the graduation. Um, no parents. You couldn't have any guests. Everybody was in a mask, and you were in the big chapel on the third floor. Everybody was spread out. So, like there was four to a
Wow.
pew spread
That
out.
hurts.
That's how they did the graduation.
Oh,
That's how you got your diploma.
didn't they like they filmed it too? They live streamed it for the
Yeah,
parents. Yeah,
live stream it for the parents.
that's
Crazy,
crazy. Because we were
crazy
in
town.
because that year me and Connor graduated middle school. I guess
Yeah.
graduated middle school, and we did
Yeah,
ours. Ours was in person with
really.
parents. That's crazy.
Well, that was weird because like all the others, like Mount Carmel, Dominican, all had it at like a separate venue, but the parents came. So I don't,
That's
it's
Yeah.
just the Jesuit way of life,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
What was y'all's record in those games y'all played your senior year?
Oh man, I think it was like I think we were 9-3 or something,
Hmm.
or like 11-4, or maybe 12, so around that.
Y'all were solid. Yeah.
We were solid.
Yeah. So you mentioned obviously that you were pitching, and that's what LSU really liked about you. But you did obviously wound up being a two-way at LSU.
Yeah,
When did you officially become a pitcher only?
man, talk about a long story. Have you guys ever heard this story?
No.
the third
The third
baseman.
base
Yep,
story?
that was my next question. So perfect, knocking two out
Yes,
at once.
this is a good story. So, like you said, LSU, originally they wanted me to pitch,
Mhm.
and when they saw me pitch at LSU, they, recruited me and um, signed me as a pitcher, a PO. And so that COVID summer, they kind of cut the season short and they let us come back and play a few games in the summer. And so that summer, I wasn't pitching much because I knew I was going to LSU.
Mhm.
Kind of wanted to save my arm.
Yeah.
And Maneri had, kind of told me to just, don't pitch as much and stop pitching by this date so we can kind of save you. And so I ended up hitting a lot more in that summer. I was, I hit at Jesuit. I hit 400 or
We
whatever.
know. We know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I want to look at the lifetime stats of that. We have to get Mummy on that. Look at the lifetime stats. But that summer, I like went off. Like I hit like
Mhm.
7 bombs in like 12 games, whatever it was, something
Jeez.
crazy.
Jesus.
And I show up. It's still COVID, so the way they did it, um, it was weird. So they had guys usually, if you're coming into a new college, new atmosphere, you get the whole team together. Everybody comes in the locker room, have a team meeting or whatever. But the way they did it this year, they had the freshmen come 3 weeks early and at different times. So you could like tour the locker room by yourself with your family with masks on and
Mhm.
Maneri and the coaching staff. But that was it. And so I kind of showed up and did that like 3 weeks before we had to be there, before, the team stuff started and school started. And Maneri kind of comes up to me. He's like, hey, I seen that you've been hitting the shit out of the ball. You've been knocking the cover off the ball, and we'd love to give you a chance to hit. Like, oh, sweet, And so I walked in the locker room, and there's a bat and helmet and all this stuff in my locker room. I'm like, cool, I guess I'm hitting at LSU.
That's cool.
And so, I was just like, I wasn't going to pass the opportunity up.
No.
And so I hit that whole fall, but I didn't play a position at all. I was just
Okay.
pitching and hitting. And so I would, he'd sub me in after I pitched. I would just hit, I'd be a DH for the other team and then like an inner squad or something. And so 3 weeks before the season, we've got nobody on the team that can catch a ground ball at third base. Jordan Thompson's watching the balls go through his legs. Will Safford's missing balls. And then we actually, for a brief moment, had Cruz at third base trying to field ground balls.
Oh, I did not know that. Whoa.
Crazy. And so, Maneri comes up to me because every once in a while I would like fill in at first base for the back half of an inner squad just to, whatever. And I made a good play at first base and he comes up to me. He's like, did you ever play third base at Jessamine? I was like, well, yeah, I played third base like sophomore year, and when I wasn't pitching, I'd either play first or third. And he's like, oh, okay, why don't you go take some ground balls? And so after practice, it's just me, him, and Nate Fury, who's like slinging a fungo at me, and I look like A-Rod, dude. Like I looked awesome, looked like a beast at third base, and hadn't done it in a long time. So he was like, oh my God, that is just amazing. Like, why have we not put you there? And so he he tells me, he brings me into his office. He's like, look, like, you know, you're gonna keep this up for the next, because it's 3 weeks before the season. So let's keep you going for the next 3 weeks, and like see what you got, and maybe it comes to a point where maybe you're the starting third baseman. So I talked to him in his office after that practice. Next morning, I wake up, can't smell, can't taste. I got COVID.
Oh,
Oh,
And so at that time, you have to, no matter what, you're out for 2 weeks.
yeah.
And so that leaves me with a week before the season. And so I come back 2 weeks later after I'm quarantined and doing nothing and feeling like crap. And I come back, and Maneri, he brings me into his office and he goes, Will, you're going to be our starting third baseman. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And he just like, yeah, I've thought about it a lot, and I've talked with the coaching staff, and we're going to put you at third base. So I worked out the whole week at third base, just doing nothing but third base stuff. And it was weird because that week at LSU, they actually shut school down because it was like a hard freeze. It rained, all the roads were icy the
okay.
whole week.
Hmm.
And we were playing Air Force that opening weekend. And so they were familiar with the cold weather. And when we practiced outside a little bit, but it got to a point where we had nothing. We couldn't use the field because we wanted to preserve the grass or whatever. So we had to go practice at the football indoor, which was all turf.
Okay.
And on turf, I looked like a beast. Like I'm fielding balls,
Oh
like
yeah.
no bad hops, backhand and stuff, whatever. So I looked awesome. And he was like, all right, you're going to start. I was like, all right, whatever you say, coach. I wasn't going to tell you no. And so I started. And first, I guess it was the third pitch of the game. Jaden Hill, if y'all remember Jaden,
Mhm.
starting on Friday against Air Force. I think there was 2,000 fans in the stadium because of COVID or whatever. And
Mhm.
third pitch of the game comes to me, field it cleanly, throw it 10 feet over Trey Morgan's head. Started out with an error and played the rest of that game okay. And then the next day, Air Force was targeting me. They were starting to bunt at me, hitting slap shots at
Mhm.
me purposefully.
Ah,
Yeah, because I got to talk to the Air Force coach about it. Like, yeah, dude, we were doing that on purpose,
jeez.
targeting me. So I had like 4 or 5 errors. I gave them like 3 runs, and they ended up winning that game. And then after that game, I became a PM.
Well.
Oh,
That
that
was
was.
that.
Well, my next question was going to be, did you get to face Paul Skeens at Air Force? Like,
No, I did
man.
not. Not as a hitter. I didn't.
Ah,
He didn't come in until he wasn't a starter. He didn't start.
oh, that's right. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He was a closer, and so he closed out that second game that they won.
Mhm.
And so I was already out of the game at that point, and he closed the game. But I had a stolen base off of Paul. He was catching. I
Okay.
got
Wow.
on
Look at
I
that.
got on base from like a walk or something, and I stole. There's a video of it somewhere. I'll try and find it and send it to you guys. But I stole off of Skeens. It was pretty cool.
That's pretty
Send
cool.
it to him. I send it to him all the time.
Would you
Um,
say that you making those errors at third base was more mental?
Yeah, probably. Look, I was a freshman in a huge,
Yeah.
thrown into a huge environment, and
mhm.
didn't know what to expect because I hadn't
Mhm.
done it. But at the same time, like I didn't have any practice at third base
Mhm.
for 4 months, out of the
Yeah.
year of that whole fall. And I think a part of it was physical, just errors, like
Right.
just not being experienced, having time at third base in a long time, and then part of it was mental, just being like this is Alex Box.
Yeah,
You're
for sure.
you're
Hmm.
you're in the big show now, and it just kind of gets to you. It happens to everybody, but it's just part of it. It's baseball. It's a game of failure, so that's what makes it fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you kind of answered two questions at once. That was perfect.
Yeah.
My next one was first off, your pulmonary impression spot on. That was
A1.
perfect. Jesus.
Oh, Coach
Uh,
Maneri, love him.
Man, speaking of Coach Maneri, you
Yeah,
obviously played for him and Coach Johnson.
yeah,
What would you say kind of like similarities in their coaching styles? And then obviously they're very different too.
yeah. So totally different.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say struggle, but I don't like to talk about Coach Maneri as a coach too much because I didn't get him at his peak.
Yeah.
I got him when he was ready to be done.
Right.
Mhm.
And he was having some, serious neck problems and there was flashes of, like, oh wow, like that's Coach Maneri, like, greatness. Because he was a great,
Mhm.
one of the, a great college coach, won a
Mhm.
national championship, had some really great teams, an awesome college coach, but I didn't get to see him at his, when he was pristine and at his peak as a coach. And so he was great. He was a great coach to me. I was undefeated in the midweek games, except for one. I was, like 9-2 in midweeks, or 9-2 in the season, and he let me pitch a lot, and which really helped me to kind of cultivate a sense of like this is LSU, like kind of get a hold of, what this was at LSU and the culture it was, which helped me along the way, stay at it for the next 3 years after. And the similarities between him and Jay, they're both smart baseball minds. They're both, I'd say Jay definitely better at pitch management or pitching management. Like matchups and how they manage that side of the game. And it's also a different time in the game. Coach Maneri's an old school coach. Like he didn't
Hmm.
use TrackMan. He didn't use statistics, fielding statistics, and spray charts and all the other things that go along with that. As much as Jay and his coaching staff, they're all in on it.
Mhm.
You should see the pregame reports and the scouting reports before each game. And it changes based on what happened the day before and who they're facing. And I never got to sit in on a hitters meeting before a game for Jay, but the amount of preparation for each pitcher is unbelievable. Like, I mean, you really wouldn't believe it, even like in the dugout, just different forms of like this guy's got this, and how you attack him would be, you're looking for this pitch in this count. If it's a 1-1 count, 77% of the time he throws a fastball. If it's a 2-0
That's
count,
Oh
insane.
my God.
Oh my
crazy,
God.
crazy, and all these statistics are available to most college programs, and you can have all this stuff because every pitch that I ever threw in college was recorded on some type of statistic on TrackMan. Exactly what the pitch does, and exactly in what count that I've been throwing it in. It's all recorded, and so they
That's
have all
That's
this
insane.
stuff, and they utilize it extremely well. And Jay and his staff are like top notch at it.
yeah.
Have got it down to a science, and it just the preparation that Jay does for everything, and Yeski too. And so it's weird because I had four pitching coaches at LSU.
That's
I had
crazy.
Alan Dunn, I had Jason Kelly, I had Wes Johnson, and I had Yeski.
Mhm.
So I had four different mindsets and four different coaches. So that was difficult. But Yeski, just the most recent for me, was great, 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 great at pregame, hitting reports for the other team. And that's why like every day you're doing it every day before a game, every team, whether it's Nichols on a Tuesday or Tennessee on a Friday night, you're doing it
Yeah.
every day. And so you really get to see these coaches like really hone in And like that's their job. They're coaches, and that's the way they best. Their job is to prepare to prepare a player to perform their best in the best situation and put them in the best situation possible. And Jay was extremely good at that, hitting wise and pitching wise, and Maneri was too. And it's a different time, and I didn't catch Maneri when he was a real coach. He was on his way out even
Right.
before the season started. And so I got to see Jay build a dynasty, which is cool. You know,
to say the least.
yeah. I mean, and he's just getting started. When he first came to LSU, one of the first things he said in the team meeting, he's like, "This is going to be college baseball. That's what we want to be." And he's done that. So far. Cool to see.
Yep. Well, this honestly, we should have
Oh, can
asked
you
you
hear me?
this.
There you are. Sweet.
Are you there? We good?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, I probably should have asked, or we should have probably asked you this at the beginning, but your alter ego, Wild Bill, how did that formulate? Like, how did that come to fruition?
Oh man. So you ask if you ask any Jesuit people, not me. Totally
Really?
not me. Oh God, no. I was never um juiced up or that crazy leader, mentality or getting people crazy in the dugout. I was a good leader and talked to guys and stuff, but it just wasn't me at
Right.
all. At all. And I was kind of the quiet kid that led by example. Um, and I got to LSU, and even my freshman year kind of stayed like that. I kind of hung back and just listened to older guys. And that second year, actually that first year, my freshman year, somebody had mistakenly called me Bill, and it stuck. It stuck, and people, to this day, that's what people call me is Bill, like Wild Bill, Bill, all that kind of stuff, and that stuck. And so that second year, which was Jay's first year, Jay came out with this attitude like, "Hey, we're going after people," and guys started to get behind it. And I was
Yeah.
a little older in the program. I kind of had my footing. I knew the older guys really well, like Vittmeyer,
Mhm.
Beloso, Cade, Doty, Gavin Dugas, all these guys that are staples of like LSU baseball
Mhm.
were now like great friends of mine. So I was really comfortable. I got really comfortable, and you know, we that first year I started to get Jay's first year I started to get comfortable and kind of started getting into it more. And that third year we won the national championship. Uh, well, I guess the story goes back to Jay's second year, um, which would or the first year. I'm sorry. So Beloso, um, the first game, we're about to do the pregame huddle like you always saw, like the typical LSU. They do it on
Yeah.
first base. Everybody huddles up. Big dude in
Mhm.
the middle, yelling, screaming, and we are about to do it and it was weird because we didn't do anything like that with Maneri during COVID, like because it
Mhm.
was just like we didn't want people close together or whatever. So it's kind of the first time we had seen it like really come happen. And the first game, season opener, Beloso's starting. I think he's going to start it as a DH. And you do the huddle, and then you yell and blah 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 blah, jump up, and Beloso comes down funky on his knee,
Oh,
and
I remember that.
Oh.
I remember that.
he tore his ACL from doing the pregame huddle. So he
Oh.
didn't do it the rest of the year, Jay's first year, because we didn't want anybody to get hurt. Come back the second year, and we're like, well, we got to do something. But Cade was like, no, I'm not doing it. Guys just didn't want to do it. So I was kind of like, people are looking around like, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? And I was like, screw it. I kind of hopped in there, did it, and guys were like, whoa, like where did that come from? Like this quiet
Yeah.
dude that is a funny guy, like quiet guy, steps up and does this big whatever. And people were like, dude, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. And so I got like crazy, crazy into it. That national championship year, and every home game, we started doing it in the dugout, and it became a thing where I was doing like long movie speeches, funny stuff, just like stuff to get guys fired up, or cracking, shotgun on a monster, just crazy stuff,
Jesus.
just to get people like fired up and ready to roll. And I took it on and took it with stride. And Jay, had been like, dude, you got to keep doing it. Like
Oh yeah.
that's you. Like that's how you got to go out there and be. That helps our team. It helps guys. It really loosens the mood. Whether you're trying to fire somebody up, or get them locked in, get those fire eyes rolling.
Mhm.
That's the best way. It's from a guy who, I've seen it. I've seen all these different types of players, and there's many ways to fire guys up. But being together as a team in one setting where one guy's kind of like, here we go, this is the time. Time is now. It was fun, man. And so I took it for my junior year, and then did it my senior year, and it was awesome. I mean, you should see. I still got it memorized to this. All these, I got probably 150, 160 speeches from movies like Braveheart, 300, Troy, like all these crazy
Oh,
That
movies,
is impressive.
all
wow.
memorized. And so it's funny. This year, so I was obviously watching through the net this year on the side, not in the dugout because I graduated or whatever. And the Tennessee game, comes around. It's
Mhm.
obviously huge series, and so this was the Friday night game, and we're waiting around. Um, so this is the game that didn't start until like 11. It
Oh
started
yeah.
at like 10:30.
Yeah, that
Didn't
was
end till didn't end till
one.
1:15 with the walk
Mhm.
off. Crazy game. And so the game was supposed to start at 7. So we're there. I sit the seats I sit in are just to the left of the dugout. I mean, like right next to it. I can like talk. I can like say hey to the coaches
Yeah.
and stuff. That's how close. And so I mean, like we're sitting there drinking, having a good time, and like 9:45, rolls around, and I'm talking with Jay and whatever, and he goes back in the dugout. And so, like, right before the game starts, Stephen Milam looks at me and he's like, come on, bro, we need you, we need you, we need you. I was like, what do you need? Like, what do you need? And so I go in the dugout. Jay lets me go in the dugout, and I do a whole thing for them. And they go crazy, rip my shirt off, and just go nuts. And got that team fired up this year. So it was cool. I did it a few times for them in big games. Tennessee game, I think, another big Friday night game they had, and they, resorted back to Old Faithful.
Yeah. Old Faithful, Wild Bill.
That's right, bro.
Uh,
Wild Bill does the trick. Won another national championship for him.
Yep.
yeah.
Brock, we got 10 minutes left, so if you want to rattle off some
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna. I had one more baseball question. It's kind of about the UNC game. You're
Yeah,
obviously
go
the
for it.
most famous game. If you want
Yeah.
to touch on that real quick before we get
Yeah.
into,
Yeah.
because
Just cool moment for me.
yeah,
It's obviously I didn't have an outing like that. I hadn't, I don't think I even threw more than 3 innings in my sophomore and junior year. My freshman year, I started a lot, and then that sophomore junior year, I battled with elbow and shoulder injuries and
right.
just crazy stuff, and struggled to get in. And that my senior year, kind of finally, started. I started pitching
hmm
like Wild Bill, kind of started pitching like a
right.
madman, and I was throwing really well at the end of the season, threw well in the SEC tournament,
hmm
won that South Carolina game, and it really started to like stack up these good outings. And that final one, the plan was we didn't have any pitching left because it
Yeah,
was thin. We
game
were
seven.
thin at that point. Um, so the plan was to get Sammy Dutton and Javen through just the first 9 guys, which it's 3 innings. They wanted to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I was going to go in the game. And Jay had told me before the game, let's just see what happens, kind of like that. And so I came out of the pen in the second, and I kind of just went at it with this attitude of like, like this is it, man. Like if this is, if we win here, like we keep going, but if not, like this is it for me. And so
Mhm.
I started pitching like crazy, like I was a kid again. It felt like I was a kid again playing 8-year-old ball, and having so much fun. Like you can go back and watch the video, and I'm just sitting there laughing and smiling.
Mhm.
Guys are catching ground. It was just fun again. Baseball was finally like this is how it's supposed to be, and
Right.
just being so competitive and got pitched those 6 innings and just awesome. Went out with a
Mhm.
bang, and unfortunately we couldn't get through that game, but just to go out with a bang, started out crappiest at third base and then finish like that. It
Oh
was
yeah.
just really surreal for me. It was really cool,
Mhm.
really awesome moment.
It hit
That's
home
great.
for all of us because
Oh
obviously
yeah,
We were all
high
watching.
school.
that's
Yeah.
awesome,
Oh, it was awesome.
awesome man, that's awesome.
Hmm.
All right, Connor.
All right, so kind of getting into these rapid fire questions. Who is the funniest teammate you had while you were at
Oh,
LSU?
oh buddy, that's a tough one. Oh, there's so many. Beloso hits the top of that list for
I can see that.
sure. Um, Trent Vittmeyer, we were locker buddies for 2 years. Stellar dude, so funny.
Hmm.
I'd probably go Beloso.
Okay.
Beloso, yeah.
Hmm. Hold on. Oh, okay. So obviously you're with Louisiana Loaded now. I follow
Yeah.
that page. I love that page. It's hilarious.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. So actually I have a two-part question. What are the
Yeah,
top three places to eat in Louisiana, and then top three places on campus? Since we're obviously gonna be there in a month.
man. Both of y'all going to LSU?
Yeah,
Yep.
we
Oh,
are.
hell yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we'll have to go. We'll have to go eat. I'll have to show y'all around, and
Oh yeah.
we'll have to do that. Top three in Louisiana, dude. That's tough. All right. Daryl's in Lake Charles.
Okay.
Cher Me's in Cutoff. Unbelievable. That's the best seafood restaurant I've ever been to. And then third, man, that's so tough. So tough. Um, dude, I don't know.
You don't have anything from New Orleans?
Dude, there's so many in New Orleans, like
Yeah.
That's true. That is fair.
so many. I love Clancy's in New Orleans.
Hmm.
So good. It's old school kind of. I'll go with Clancy's. Clancy's is, that's a tough question. Top three in Louisiana. Gee, dude. And then on campus, man, there's not like a whole lot of great stuff.
Well, the
Um,
quick. Oh, I said it wrong. On or around campus, kind of.
okay, on or around. Just all right. So Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. French Market Bistro,
Okay.
100% is number one for me. Um, the Colonel's Club, newer spot, really good. And then like I'll go one with one like on campus, on campus. Um, honestly, good. There's so many good. Like there's good Mexican. Modesto's really good, like which is right by Alex Box.
Mhm.
Modesto's really good. Superior's great, obviously. Good sushi right by the box. Unami, but like quick Mexican food, Torchy's, right across
Torch.
from
I've.
Tiger Stadium in the kind of heart of it. Torchy's is good. Torchy's is good.
Hmm.
There's so many. Like it's
Yeah.
college town. It's tough.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, my last one, and you could just give a brief yes or no answer. Could we see Wild Bill coaching in the future?
Oh yeah, man, I've been asked that a lot. I coached a lot. I coached, at my time at LSU, like in the summers. I coached teams, and I enjoy coaching and doing lessons and stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just, and it's, it would realistically be pretty easy for me to get into.
Oh
Just,
yeah,
I
for
played at
sure.
LSU. I could go back and coach at
Yes.
Jesuit. I could, whatever. Um, yeah, I could see it happening.
Oh,
Definitely.
great.
Um, it's a team that you would want to be a part of for sure,
Yeah.
for
no
sure.
doubt.
Yep.
So
Um,
yeah, man.
okay, this is the actual last one. I know we said that a lot. What's your
Yeah.
prediction, LSU football? Give a quick record
Oh,
prediction.
dude, so tough. Um, I'd like to say they have a double-digit win season. I really hope
Oh
so.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
hope they're 11-2. You know,
Hmm.
and they have the team. Like just watching it now and being around it up here, like the talk is it's hot up here.
Yeah.
You know, they have a really great team. They got the coaching staff seems like it's finally meshing, taking
Hmm.
shape. They got a veteran quarterback, dude that threw for 4,000 yards. Like he's a stud. Garrett's a
Connor.
great dude.
All right. All right.
You know, Garrett's a good dude. Obviously struggled the past 2 years a little bit in like clutch situations. So that kind of worries me a little bit in
Yeah.
crunch time. Um, I'd like to say they'll be either 10-3, 11-2. Hopefully, I love to see the Tigers win.
Hmm.
Obviously, being a Tiger, but hopefully this is another year where they can run it back. Want to run it back to an SEC championship or at least be there. I'd love to
Yeah.
see them be there, even just making that. I don't want to be in another bowl game, crappy potato bowl game or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, we hear you.
we'll see. We'll
Yep.
see what happens.
Yep.
All right.
But
Well, we literally have like 30 seconds left on this Zoom call. So, Will, we thank you so much for joining us.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do something again in the future.
let's do it, man.
Yes,
Thank you guys
sir.
for having me.
Thank
All
Appreciate
right.
you.
it.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
being
Will.
Later.
on.
See ya.
Anytime.